Hi, everybody. This is Cherie Warwick of WeRecruitSalespeople.com. Thank you so much for joining on this video, checking out what we're doing. We're super excited to talk about our checklist for hiring an IT salesperson who can hit a quota of $1 million to $5 million annually. So, with that, I want to take a few minutes and talk about what's in the checklist, some of the items that's in it, and how you can get your copy of it. So let's first of all talk about hiring salespeople and some of the obstacles and issues that people have. So, number one, there is a statistic out there that says that 77% of salespeople that are hired are wrong for the jobs that they're hired for. Either they are not good at sales, they don't have the sales DNA or the ability to sell. They don't have the skills. And we're not just talking about coachable skills, but they just don't have it. Just like not everyone's an accountant, not everyone is a licensed therapist. There are certain characteristics of strong salespeople. So, part of the reason why 77% of sales hires are wrong is because of that. The person just doesn't have that natural skill and talent for being a salesperson. The other part of it, which goes into my checklist here, is that they're wrong for the job that you have asked them to take on. So, what we want to do is talk about some of the mistakes that IT companies will make when hiring a salesperson and some of the ways that you can rectify it. Did you also know that the wrong sales hire in the DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia area can cost you $742,000? $742,000. And there's a breakdown of that in the checklist. You can get it here at werecruitsalespeople.com, the checklist. But it it's not an inflated number. It includes the salary of the person, the benefits that you've given to them, the training cost, the opportunity cost. So, getting the right person in is crucial to success. It's absolutely crucial. And sometimes you'll bring on a person who has a great heart. They want to do good for the company. They want to bring in great sales leads. They want to close business. They want to do right by the manager. However, they just don't have the skills to do that, and they miss quota and you miss opportunities because of it. Now, you may say, okay, Cherie, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring somebody in who has 10 years of sales experience, 20 years of sales experience. They hit their quota over at this company here, so they're going to do the same thing for me. And I am here to tell you that they may not be the best person for the job. Again, if you don't know certain things, if you don't know the questions to ask, and if you aren't aware of where your company is today and where you want it to be, you could take someone with 20 years of sales experience who crushed it at their previous job and just totally missed the boat with you. It's very possible, and it actually happens more often than you think. So let's talk about the checklist a little bit. Some of the things you may want to think about as you are hiring the salesperson. And again, if you want the complete checklist, go to werecruitsalespeople.com and you can download it there. But the checklist, first thing that you want to ask yourself as a company is, are you looking for a hunter or are you looking for a farmer? If these terms are new to you, don't worry about it. I will explain it to you. So, a hunter is somebody who goes out and kills the food and brings it back to the cave. Or if that's a little too much for you, it's somebody who can go out and get fish and bring it home, right? Um, it is that person in the sales world who knows how to prospect and knows how to close deals. A farmer is somebody who is nurturing. So if you think about a farmer, they till the land, they have the seeds and they put the seeds underground and they nurture the seeds and they till the land and um, they uh, they get it to a point where the crops start to rise. And in the sales community, some of that is closing, nurturing. If you have a long sales cycle, nurturing until the person closes. But a lot of it is upselling, it's keeping customers happy. So hunters, for example, are those great BDRs, which are business development reps. Prospectors are in there as well. They tend to be sales development reps in larger companies that just prospect. But if you think it's just people in larger companies that just prospect, think again, because one of the first sales jobs that I had was as solely a prospector. In our family business, I would go out, I would prospect for accounting clients, and I would bring them in for my mom, the accountant, to actually close that business because she had some of the accounting knowledge that I didn't. But I happen to be a very, very good prospector. If she had asked me to prospect and close, I would not have done as well. So you have to know what you need as an organization and the strengths of that person. So first thing is identifying, do you really need a hunter? Do you really need a farmer? And again, thinking about there are four things that need to happen in the sales process: prospect, close, nurture, upsell. Upselling is just getting current clients to spend more money. Some salespeople are only good at one thing. Actually, most salespeople are only good at one to two things. Very, very few people, I would say 5% of all salespeople are good at all four. So one of the reasons why 77% of salespeople that are hired are wrong for the job is because you're asking them to do all four, and they're just naturally good at one or two things. They're either just naturally good at prospecting and closing, or they're just naturally good at nurturing and upselling, but doing all four, they're not necessarily good at. So being honest with yourself about what you truly need in your business is going to save you a lot of money. The second thing is identify whether or not you need an industry insider. There are certain businesses, I would say like fintech or healthcare IT, or even government contracting, because we're in the DC metro area, that requires somebody to know the industry, understand the acronyms, the industry lingo, the history of the industry, where it is today, where it's headed. Sometimes you do need somebody who knows certain people within the industry as well. So really identifying whether or not you need an industry insider is important as well. And most companies do know whether or not they need an industry insider, but I would say that there are some companies that think they need an industry insider that's all the way up here, and they really don't. Sometimes you can bring in somebody with a limited amount of industry knowledge and onboard them properly. And sometimes you don't have to erase bad information or bad habits as well. So it really does depend on what that person's going to be doing within your organization, whether or not they need industry information and how much they actually need. Another thing you want to brainstorm with you and your team as a hiring manager and maybe the HR professionals that you're working with is how you define success and how you define superior performance. So there are a lot of sales managers that believe, hey, if the person stays out of my hair, I never hear from them. Uh, if as long as they provide their CRM reports and they're doing moderately okay, then that's a great person. And that's not what we're aiming for here. We're aiming for somebody who could crush quota. And that person will have to achieve certain results and certain goals within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 365 days. You need to be very clear before you even start speaking to candidates about what it is you are looking for. How do you define superior performance? And sometimes it's not just, hey, if you bring me this money from anywhere, any B2B organization that wants to give us $100,000 check, rah rah, we're excited about it. Sometimes you need specific organizations to do business with you. Sometimes you're looking for more prospects within your ideal client profile. Being honest about that really helps the sales professional that you are recruiting or you're courting or you are speaking with and interviewing, lets them know what your thought process is, and also lets them know if they're going to be able to do the job for you. Um, Another thing you want to identify is, do you need an entrepreneurial salesperson or do you need a corporate salesperson? So let me explain. Years ago, I worked with a company that was about $50, $60 million. So a nice mid-sized company. And in the department I worked at, I was there first, and then they brought on two gentlemen after me who came from very, very large organizations. And almost immediately, there was a culture clash. Here's what happened. In very, very large organizations, people are used to being very siloed, where this is my job, this is your job, you don't come over here, I don't come over there, very siloed. Uh, Also, in large organizations, people tend to have a lot of resources. So, one of the gentlemen in my department said he needed a piece of software that was going to cost $50,000, and my boss laughed at him because our company just didn't have that kind of money for the specific resource that he wanted and needed, or felt that he needed, in order to do the job. An entrepreneurial salesperson is scrappy. They don't necessarily need the 50-page onboarding manual and the 6-week onboarding structured sales training that a corporate person needs. And a lot of times people make the mistake of bringing on an entrepreneurial salesperson in a very corporate, very large, hence I say very bureaucratic organization. And sometimes smaller businesses think, oh, this person worked at Oracle, they worked at Salesforce, they're going to be great for our small organization. And when that person comes in and says, okay, but these are all of the sales enablement things and all of the tools that I need, that I'm used to, and I'm used to having a bigger budget, and you don't have it, then that person, they freeze up. They don't know how to pivot. They don't know how to be agile, etc. Another reason why you want to think about whether you need an entrepreneurial salesperson versus a corporate salesperson is where your product is in its life cycle. Not necessarily where your company is, but where your product is in its life cycle. So a corporate salesperson likes brand name recognition. They like products that are proven, that have been out there for a while, and they can come and they can ride the wave. Entrepreneurial salespeople like to help you discover product market fit as an IT salesperson. They are willing to do a lot more discovery consultations. They are, very collaborative with regards to getting together with your engineers and your customer success personnel, and really try to help you mold the company based on the market requirements. A corporate salesperson, it would drive them crazy. So you want to identify which type of person you need, not only based on your company size, but also based on the product that you want them to help you sell. Then once you've determined all of those things, you need to write an exciting job ad. A job ad that talks about your corporate culture, talks about why the person would even want to apply. For a lot of salespeople, yes, they care about money, but a very, very close second is the problem that's being solved and how they can help uh, the customers that you're serving solve a specific issue. A talent, the top of the top, the cream of the crop, want to feel like either they're making a difference or they're part of something that is groundbreaking or something like that. So within your job ad, even if you need to hire a copywriter or somebody like that, we are also able to help you with this. You want to write a job ad that gets the person to think, yes, I am happy with my job, but I'm open to talking to this company. And dependent on the interview, I'd be willing to consider switching. You can't get that with a boring job ad. You just can't do it. Another thing you want in your job ad are the things that you want the person to do and the outcomes that you want to see, not necessarily the experience that they had. So before I talked about the fact that just because someone has 20 years of experience in sales doesn't mean that they're going to be a right salesperson for you. So instead, we focus on what do you need that salesperson to do? Introductions, establishing relationships, developing your onboarding sales program, identifying new markets for your product. Those are the types of things that you want to have within the job description so that the person can say, yeah, I've done that before for my current company. I think I can add that, and it's going to be exciting as well. I want to at least go to the interview and hear what this company has to say. The last two things that you want to have, top salespeople are interviewing you probably more than you're interviewing them. And I know that that sounds a little unfair, but it's very true. A top salesperson who has had a few jobs, like myself, in sales, we have been burned before. So the last two things I'm going to tell you is, for you to really attract the ideal person that you want. Um, these two things are as follows. Number one, I made the mistake a while ago of, true story, I brought a whole bunch of leads to a company who they were small, I will admit. They could not handle the amount of leads that I brought in, the amount of deals that I brought to the table. They didn't have the infrastructure to handle the additional business. And whether or not you're a small company, a mid-sized company, most large companies can absorb it. But especially if you're a smaller company under the $20 million mark, if you hire that great salesperson and they add another $5 million within the next year, do you have the infrastructure? Do you have the infrastructure to handle that sales increase? Because the savviest salesperson, the person that you want, is going to ask you that question and they're going to test you on that. And you want to know for yourself, if this person really knocks it out the park, do we have the infrastructure? Because that is the one way to cause your salesperson to leave, is if you don't have the infrastructure to support the new leads that they're bringing through the door. So that's one thing. The second thing that you want to make sure you have are a couple of scenarios where you could show them based on your compensation plan that they can make at least $200,000 a year. the best people, the types of people that we recruit at werecruitsalespeople.com, and the types of people that hit 1 million to 5 million a year in quota, no less than $200,000 in base pay plus commissions. And when you are interviewing them, you need to have all of that available so that they're able to see, okay, what's the total addressable market? Who have you penetrated thus far? Who can we go after? What would be my 30, 60, 90-day plan, depending on your sales cycles? Some sales cycles are year long if you're talking about doing a lot of government work. So what do we need to do so that I, as the salesperson, can make 200,000? If a person is bringing in 5 million a year, they'll need to make more than that. So I would say, for that type of person, $500,000 minimum. But you want to uh, make sure that you are answering that person's questions so that when you find that stellar talent, you say, this is a person that we need on our side and in our company. You've sold them on the job as well. The final thing I'm going to say is my mentor in sales recruiting says that there are about 5 people that are ideal for any and every job that's out there. And I believe that that's true. So you want to set up your entire hiring process of the salesperson to attract the 5 people that should be seated in front of you for that interview, and then to do a comparison of those 5 people. So with that, I want to invite you to download the checklist because there's more stuff in the checklist as well. It's at werecruitsalespeople.com. And if you feel like you want to have a conversation with me, I do have 30-minute sessions where I talk about your greatest hiring challenges. It's no obligation. I'm actually writing a book that'll be out at the end of July, and I'm looking to interview some people as well. So if you want to have a discussion about your greatest hiring challenges, or if you just want to get the checklist, the link or the URL is werecruitsalespeople.com. To get that 30 minutes, you need to go download the checklist. And on the very last page, there's my link to my calendar, and you can schedule a day and time that works for you. So with that, I hope I've said some things that have been helpful to you. I am Cherie Warwick at werecruitsalespeople.com. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day, and I hope to see you, in a future video. And if you have a comment, please feel free to comment below. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.